Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGened and this week's episode of Crypto Corner Sat Stacker for Saturday, October 25th. And with that being said, did want to flip over here to look at the monthly returns for Bitcoin because October is nearly over. And currently, Bitcoin is down 2.2% as I do record this. And so that really does mean that it is now or November before we start to see some upside here. So, I believe the lowest that I saw it for October was down 6%. Maybe that was the bottom, and we have a lot more upside to go. But yeah, before I do get into it, this one's probably going to be a little bit shorter just because, it hasn't really been too exciting the past week. And, the thesis is, still the same as it's always been, that Ethereum found a bottom around 1,400. And I think that it could be hitting 8,000 by the end of the year. The bottom here was really inspired by a lot of these bearish memes that I compiled here, and that thesis was recently renewed when Ethereum was previously testing some lows that it has been hanging around 3,800. I do think, like I said, that Ethereum could be doubling by the end of the year. And to get a breakdown of my thesis, I do have links down below to videos where I did cover this, but on ETHster, so that was 420 of this year, I did put out this video entitled, Happy ETHster, breaking down the thesis about Ethereum going from 1,400 up to 8,000 by the end of the year. So that is linked down below. Also do have a link to the renewal of my thesis from about a month ago. That's just about a 4-minute long video. So very nice to check that out. And I also do have a link in the description again for basically my thesis breakdown and really just risk management associated with it. From the most recent Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, where I did go over that, but it was really just like a 10 to 15 plus minute intro to these videos, and I kind of stopped doing that. So yeah, links to all of those in the description. But let's get over, to the list. What we can see here is it hasn't really been that exciting of a week. I don't think many of these levels were hit, if any of them. But I do have some orders placed to dip by, and so I will go over those as well in this video. But I did just want to point out for the past week, the only daily DCAs that I've been doing have been with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, and also with Solana. And then I have also been doing some $1, you can't see it, but $1 daily DCAs with Pudgy Penguins, or ticker symbol PENGU. But yeah, with all that being said, I'm really probably just going to, give brief updates on these, populate the market cap and the price, the closing price from Friday, just to continue that going. We can see at the end, where my positions stand, looking at the graph, my percent P&L. But yeah, let's dive into it here, beginning with the first ticker on the list, which is, of course, going to be Bitcoin, ticker symbol BTC. So, and also, I should note, slow down 1 second. I'm probably not going to put timestamps to all of the tickers in the description. I'm going to try to keep this video to an hour, but I will include timestamps to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then PENGU. And then other than that, you can just kind of, scan through to find the tickers of interest. But if there is a ticker you want me to add a timestamp to, just let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, anyways, let's get on with Bitcoin, ticker symbol BTC, to populate the market cap. So coming over here to coin market cap, and again, I should note this as well, links in the description to coin market cap as well as CoinGlass. So if you guys want access to any of those as resources. But anyways, Bitcoin over here does have a market cap of about $2.2 trillion. So I am just going to copy that, and so we can paste it over here. And so from there, $2.215 trillion compared to last week. It was about 2.1, so it has gone up some, but not by that much. And also, it's possible this page needs to be refreshed. So I'm actually going to copy and paste this number because it was open from last night. and I don't think it was being refreshed. So a little bit higher, 2.219, but that is changing. With that being said, I am going to refresh the page over here as well in case this does need to be updated as well. And so we do have Bitcoin over here. I got my drawings up there, which I'm going to remove just because we want the closing price from Friday, October 24th, and that was at a price of $111, 111,042.13. So 111,042.13, and it looks like that did go up from last week. And with my average around $98,000, I am up about 13%. And over the past week, I have been doing $20 daily DCAs with Strike. And then I've placed 3 $100 dip buys using Coinbase, and then I can earn, it was 4.1%, but now it's 3.85% APY on USDC. So just earning a little bit of interest as I wait for those orders to get filled. And the support levels that I do have identified for Bitcoin, the first one is going to be 102,000. And then I also do have resistance to the upside around 135,000. But let's just take a quick look over here. So this is going to be where my first limit dip buy is going to be around 102,000. Then I also have one at 100,000 and 98,000. I don't really see it going any lower than 98,000. If we do look over at the chart, look at my drawings here, we can see that this line here around 107, 108,000 did act as support, although we did dip lower on Friday. October 17th, we hit a low of about $103.5 thousand, but it does seem like that yellow line has acted as support, and that was also like the wick low from October 10th. A lot of panic in the market then due to that liquidation cascade. We did sweep those lows. We did go lower again down to 103.5, and on the 10th, I should note the low was 107,000. So that does seem like it was acting as support. And it does also, this arrow, correspond with the 50-week moving average, which has in the past acted as support. Very nice dip buying opportunities. So yeah, I mean, I am not too concerned about Bitcoin going lower, but if it does go lower, I will then more aggressively buy at 102, 198,000. So that's why I have those levels there, and I'm not going to adjust them. I'm just going to leave them alone. And then the resistance to the upside, 135,000, that would be getting above the highs, which we saw on October 6th being at around 126,000 or just above, and 135,000 would correspond with some of these Fibonacci extensions. I could actually lower this one a little bit since we did go a little bit lower than that over here. However, I think that I would want to look at this more big picture, and I could probably adjust those levels a little bit. So I'm actually just going to delete them. Maybe I do want to adjust the target for Bitcoin. And let's see, we could, I'm going to do it from the arrows. So let's do it from the low here up to the high and then down to that low. And so let's just do a Fibonacci extension real quick here. And so we got it from the approximate lows up to the highs here and the lows that we recently saw. Where is that going to be bringing price to? So actually, which is the one that I just drew? So I had something similar before, but let's see. I just drew this one. I might add the 786 to it, just so we have that. And that's around 144,000. Let's see, the 618 extension, that's around 135. So with that being said, I am just going to leave that level as potential resistance to the upside. But then, I could see, 144 and 155. So I might adjust this 158 to 144. Is that what's over here? Yep, about 144 and then 155. So let's, put that on there as well. And those two levels are red. The level over here at 135 is also red because I'm not placing any orders. I don't plan on selling my Bitcoin, just continuing to stack, although I have reached my goal for 2025, but I'm just continuing to stack. Again, very simple, very boring, $20 a day. But if it does dip, I can get, add more aggressively. And if it doesn't dip, I'm just going to continue to stack. And maybe at the end of the year, I would want to trim the excess if I am, notably above my current percent P&L, which is 13%. But yeah, feeling good about Bitcoin. And so now let's go on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Ethereum, ticker symbol ETH. So let's populate the market cap for that one. Of course, the number 2 here on the list at a market cap of around $475 billion, nearly $500 billion. And we can see that did go up from last week when we saw the market cap around $467 billion, now at 475. So it's nice to see that, some green over there. And then if we do look over here, the second Ethereum that I have on the chart, just to get the Coinbase data over here to keep it consistent every week. The closing price for Friday, October 24th, was at 3936.10, so 3936.10. And that, did go up from last week. And it looks like I'm up about 42%, or, if we cover up part of that percent sign, it looks like 420 right there, 420. So that's maybe a good omen. And this has been with the daily $40 DCAs via Robinhood. It looks like my average is just under $2,800. And, some support levels, 3,800, I did mention that earlier in the video, and then resistance to around 5,700. But let's look over at the weekly info here to see support there at 3,800. And if we look at the chart here with the levels, let's see, it does look like I could extend this channel over. It does still seem like we are respecting it more or less. And let's see, 3,800 right over here. That's around 3,600 actually. And this is a downtrending channel, so it could potentially go a little bit lower than that. But generally, I don't think it's going to go much lower. And we can see if I do remove the drawings here, the low on October 10th, when there was kind of that liquidation cascade, the low is $3,510. And so looking over here, 3,500, I do have that there as an additional level. But really, that support that I do see acting, more immediately is going to be around 3,800, which is currently below the price, which is around $3,931. And and I should have, registered that a little bit more when I was thinking about it. Yeah, just below $4,000. And then so coming back over here, let's actually look at the other Ethereum chart. This is where I, renewed my thesis on Ethereum based on, these highs acting as resistance, getting flipped to support. And then, now it looks like, resistance again, but still, trading around this blue line, which is locked. So I'm just going to extend it forward into the future. Let's go 315. I think that's in the future. And that 382 is right around $3,870, or just round that down to 3,800. Could be acting as some very nice support, as though, although we could be going down to 3,500. So yeah, I feel good about those levels, but then resistance to the upside, 5,700. Let's consider that, but let's look at the Coinbase chart here. See this doodle that I have there did not play out as I expected, but maybe we could drag these points forward, and maybe it will end up being that was a low and a nice dip buying opportunity before moving higher. But yeah, let's see, what did I say? 5,700. That is going to be based on this fib extension over here. Based on, let's see, I'm going to actually, I don't have to adjust that because it goes to the low over here from the 10th. And 5,700. So standing by that, not going to spend any more time on it. There are some levels to the upside, but not going to worry about them. Maybe it's something for you guys to consider, but I'm not worried about them. And I'm not going to be selling any of this ETH, but I would, I guess, consider it above 6,000 at around 6,300, 6,900, just because it's a 69. It's fun. 8,000 my target, and then 10,000 as well. But I don't have any orders placed. And then, so with that being said, let's continue on to the next one on the list, which is going to be iExec, ticker symbol RLC, probably the most speculative on this list, and definitely very high risk here, being close to the top of the list. But yeah, let's check out the market cap for RLC. It's going to be at the bottom of the list, and it's still in the top 400 in the 300s, number 393 currently, iExec, with a market cap of just above $75 million. And let's see if that did go up over the past week, which it did. Last week, I believe, was 74 million. Oh, 75 million, but I guess it just went up, a little bit. But yeah, let's check out the price for RLC. And that, just removing those drawings to get rid of that clutter, we can see that it closed on October 24th at a price of 87.09 cents. So 87.09 cents, and it looks like I'm down about 39% in my position. My average is around, 142. I do have a dip buy placed to buy $100 more. And, considering that I am down, nearly 40% of my position, maybe I want to do another weekly, $100 buy just to be getting the average down. But, I've exposed myself to enough risk with it, and I'm kind of, enjoying myself, just chilling, earning interest on the USDC that is waiting to buy the dip. And if it doesn't dip, I've got orders placed to trim on the upside. So I'll talk about those levels. But some levels that I could see, as being significant. One is 86 cents, just below, current price, which looks like it's around 86.75. And so that could be, a nice level to be adding at, getting that average down. But again, I'm not going to be doing it. I'm just going to be chilling. And then a level of resistance to the upside is going to be around 180. But let's go over to the weeklies tab here, just to consider those levels and the level that I do have that $100 dip buy at. And that is going to be 56 cents. Is in white there. You can see that the orders and alerts are placed there. So 56 cents. Why did I pick that? And that is going to be kind of a historical level. So this yellow line here, 56 cents, that is going to be, let's see if I just zoom in over here, that is going to be the low from June 18th of 2022, exactly 56 cents. So that is, kind of why I have that level marked there. But this does kind of make me think, since it's trading around 86 cents, maybe I do want to, do another $100 dip buy there. So I might consider placing that order. I'll actually come back to it. Maybe there's something else that I'm a little more compelled to do. But yeah, 86 cents does seem very interesting. And then levels of resistance, 180, 186, 190, and 194. And those are all levels that I do have basically a quarter of my position minus $100 to just leave as a, moon bag to trim at those levels. And let's see, 180 going to be right over here, kind of corresponding with the highs. I think that'd get filled. And then 186 corresponding with kind of the consolidation, levels over here was some support, resistance, and then resistance again, and then going up to 190, 194. All those levels would get filled if we did have another big spike up. So that's why I have limit orders placed, not worried about it. And so I'm really just chilling. And actually, with that being said, it's nice to just chill with the order placed. I'm not moving anything around. So I don't think I'm going to be doing, a dip buy at 86 cents, although maybe I will regret it. I just don't need to be exposing myself to any more risk until I'm actually taking some risk off the table. So I'm just going to leave that one alone. And then now moving on to the next one, which is Dogecoin, ticker symbol DOGE or Doge. So let's come over to the market cap over here. This is going to be number 8 on the list. I believe it was 9 last week. I'm not exactly sure. But Dogecoin is just shy of 30 billion. And so let's just populate that number over here. And we can see it did go up from last week. It was 28.4 billion. Now it's 29.7. So looking a little bit better. If we do look at the chart over here with the closing price from Friday, October 24th, that was at 19.77 cents. So 19.77. And it looks like I'm up about 8% on my position with an average price of 18.31. I do have a limit dip buy placed on Doge for $200, really because, RLC, I like to keep it lower than Doge, but I now hold about $200 more of RLC than Doge, so I just want to get Doge back up there. And that level is actually not 17 cents, which I do have marked as support, and we are currently trading above that at 19.72 right now. But actually, what is the level? Why do I have that as marked as support? And that's, I think, really just going to be kind of like the lows over here. So like the low on the 17th of October was 17.52. And then the low over here on October 10th was actually, let's see, 9.64 cents. So I don't think we'd be going that low. Do have the yellow line here at 14 cents, 14.32. But really, it would just be to kind of like sweep the lows here from the 17th, which are, 17.52. So sweep those, find some support, and then you go higher. So again, I'm just chilling with that. But that's actually not the dip buy level that I have placed for Doge. That's actually going to be 15 cents. And so why do I see 15 cents? Because of that 14.32. Maybe we head it down there, but don't pierce that level. Maybe 15 cents would get filled. And that has acted as support in the past. Going back to the low from March 11th of 2025, which was at 14.32, where I have that yellow line marked there. So we will have to see. I'm just chilling, waiting on that to be filled. And then resistance levels, I've got about 24 cents. That's probably just going to be based on the simple moving average here, 50-day simple moving average, around now 23.40, but maybe we pierce that. So I'm just going to leave that level alone. I do think it could be going up higher to maybe 31 cents, marked by that green line. Which I also have marked there. But I wouldn't really consider start to trim until about 53 cents, then 69.80. And, then I would actually want to place limit sell orders if we're getting up to these at 98 cents just to kind of front run anybody wanting to sell at $1. Just beat them to the punch, take some profits on that position. But yeah, like I said, just going to leave that alone, not going to be messing with it. And with these orders, I should, since I do have them placed, I don't need to worry about them. I'm going to change them back to white because they were filled last week and they will continue to get filled as I leave them alone. But yeah, the next one on the list is going to be Loopring, ticker symbol LRC. So let's take a look at the market cap for that one. That's going to be like the second most risky, ranked at number 340 here. That's at a market cap of about $93 million. Let's see if that went up over the past week. I suspect, it didn't. That's interesting. We can see that last week it was at 94 million. Now it's a little bit lower. So that's not great to see, but it is what it is. We look over at the chart here. We can see the closing price from October 24th on Friday was 6.9 cents. There's a 69 in there. So maybe that's a good luck charm. Not really sure. Based on yesterday's close, that does look like the price went up from last week when it was at just a little bit shy of that at 6.84 cents. So very interesting to see that. It does look like I'm down about 22% on my position with an average cost of 8.87 cents. I do have a limit dip buy for this one placed for $100. But, again, I'm just chilling, not worrying too much about that. But I could see this dipping down to around 6.6 cents. But again, that is not my dip buy level. And let's just see, looking at this, 6.6, that's going to really just correspond with the yellow line here. And it looks like also 236 retracements that would be coming from the bottom to bounce up there. And it does look like that's, potentially acting as some support. And we actually did pierce 6.6 cents on Wednesday the 22nd. We hit a low of 6.44 cents. So that would have been, a nice dip by a level. But let's see the dip by a level that I am eyeing. That is actually going to be at 5.2 cents. I'm going to say 52 cents, but 5.2 cents there. The reason why I'm being kind of conservative with my dip buys on these, like LRC and RLC, is because I have limit sell orders placed at 10, 11, and 12 cents, and in addition to that, 9.3 cents. And so I don't really want to be adding more until I am taking some risk off the table. Why did I pick those levels? Let's see. We do have the 618 up here at about 3 cents, then about 10 cents, 11, 12, and seeing the high here on, let's see, August 31st. The high was just about 12 cents at 11.9 cents. So, those are all, levels that I would want to be trimming out at. About a quarter of a position each one of those levels, and then I'd still have a $100 moon bag left in there. But yeah, again, not going to worry about those, not making any adjustments to those levels. But yeah, let's come back over here. Maybe getting a little bit more interesting. Solana, or ticker symbol SOL. This is one that I have been adding over the past week. But before we get into that, let's go over the market cap. This is going to be ranked number 6 here with a market cap of around $105 billion. So I got that populated there, and let's see, did go up from last week when it was at a market cap of around 101.5 billion. And now let's just check out the price for Solana. And we can see that yesterday on the 24th of October, it did close at a price of 193.63. So 193.63, still below 200. So I think it's kind of nice. And it does look like I'm up about 2% in my position with an average cost around $189.57. I have been doing daily $14.28 29-cent buys, but I'm actually going to adjust that 1 penny down because this ends up being last week with $14.29. It ended up being about $103. Sorry, it ended up being $100.03. And so now with $14.28, it'll be slightly less than $100, and so that's good. I do need to adjust that, so I'm just going to make that yellow so I know I need to adjust those buys. But yeah, let's consider, what are, the dip levels. I'd say 174. So let's look at the chart. How do I get that? That's going to be based on the 50% retracement over here, right around 174, and we did test it. It looks like on Friday the 17th, we hit a low of 174.10, so nearly tested that level. It does seem to be acting as support. But if I were to, consider buying on dips, that would probably be at around, 156. But I don't have any orders placed because I am doing the daily, DCA, so no big deal there. And then levels to the upside that could be acting as resistance. I have 216, which is going to approximately correspond with this 50-day simple moving average. That's around 213.35, but that is also corresponding with the 236 here, that purple level there. That's around 216. So, yep, could be acting as some resistance. And then beyond that, 260, 300. And once we get to 300 and beyond, those are levels that I would start to trim at. And 300 would be getting to, new all-time highs, because the high over here on January 19th of 2025 was 295. So getting to 300 would kind of be like blue sky territory. So maybe there'd be some resistance at 300. But I think ultimately, it would just, release, to the upside, that blue sky territory, potentially getting up to 560. So potentially exciting if we do get up to there, and I suspect we will. And I should also note that Solana did flip Ondo as far as my holdings go. That's the only flippening that we've seen here as far as my positions go. But the next one on the list is Ondo, ticker symbol ONDO. And so let's just check out the market cap for Ondo, which is going to be ranked number 43 here on the list with a market cap of around $2.3 billion. Populate that over here. We can see it did go up over the past week. It was previously at Ondo, $2.2 billion, now at about 2.3. And let's check out the price over here. The closing price from Friday, October 24th, was at 74.431 cents. So 74.431. Did go up. It does look like I'm down about 16% in my position with an average cost of 89 cents. But I'm not going to be doing any buying. I'm just going to be chilling. Levels to the downside that could be acting as support, about 70 cents is what I have marked there. And we can see the low from October 22nd, so on Wednesday, was 68.444 cents. And so 70 cents would have gotten filled, acting as support. And the level that I do have marked here is 66.3 cents, corresponding with the low from April 7th. That was on Liberation Day, or right around Liberation Day. And the low is 66.301 cents. What are some of the levels that I have marked over here for Ondo? 66 cents, acting as support. So we are seeing that, but then we do have the low over here from October 10th at 58 cents. And so that is a level that if we do go down to there, I would consider buying, but otherwise I'm just chilling. Got an alert there set that if that does go off, then I might buy. But then levels to the upside that could be acting as resistance, 92 cents. That is going to correspond approximately with the 50-day simple moving average, which is currently around 89 cents. So just piercing that, going a little bit higher, about to the highs up here, or actually just a little bit lower than that. That's around 96, 97 cents. And so 92 cents could be a nice level to trim at, but I personally wouldn't consider trimming until around 112, but really, starting to trim around 142, 169, and $2. But that's just me. You do you. And this is one that's, a smaller market cap coin that's higher up on my risk list. And so those are just some levels that I would trim out at just to kind of lower it. So, ones that I perhaps have a little bit more conviction in, would just be higher on the list. And then the next one, actually don't have too much conviction in this one. I almost trimmed out of it or exited. I did trim out of it. I almost exited at about 10% profit or break even, but I did not. And that is going to be Ethereum Classic, ticker symbol ETC or etc. And, because it's the etc. coin of Ethereum. And I just feel like it really doesn't have as much utility. It's really just, it's like a fossil coin when compared to Ethereum that's really, being adopted by Wall Street and stuff like that. So I wish I would have gotten completely out of this one, but, I still have a notable position, but it's not excessively huge. It's manageable. But yeah, let's just check out the market cap for Ethereum Classic. It's going to be ranked number 40 here. Pepe is above it, so it doesn't speak too highly for Ethereum Classic, but that does have a market cap of 2.4 billion. Actually, it's above Ondo, so maybe that's something to say there. But yeah, $2.4 billion. Let's see if it went up or down relative to last week. Did go up. Last week's market cap was around just shy of 2.4 billion. Now it's approaching 2.5 billion. But yeah, let's check out the price action for Ethereum Classic. That is going to be at a closing price on October 24th on Friday at $15.99. So let's just populate that here. Did go up from the previous week, but I am down about 26% on my position with an average cost of $21.48. I could, get my average down. I could add more to this, but I'm not going to. I am just going to chill. 26% down, no big deal. But what are some levels that, could potentially be acting as some support? I do have $15 marked there. And that, let's see, what was the low on Wednesday the 22nd? That low was at $14.99, so maybe 15 would have been filled, but I suspect not. And then the week before, it looks like on Friday the 17th, the low was $14.67. So we are putting in higher lows there. Potentially that's good. Maybe we're about to, take off. But other levels that I do have marked for Ethereum Classic, let's see, to the downside at $12. And let's see, that is going to be the low from Friday, October 10th, when we had that liquidation cascade. That low was $11.94, and we do have this yellow line here at $12.69, corresponding with the low from April 7th. So if we did get down to 12, that might be a nice level to, really more aggressively get the average down. But as of right now, I am just chilling. I'm not going to do it. Just got the alert set, so no big deal. But then levels to the upside, 18 would be a level of resistance, approximately corresponding with the 50-day SMA at around 1860. But then beyond that, 20 and 21, at 20 just being like a psychological level, and then at 21 corresponding with like the highs over here as well as over here. Those prior levels of resistance could be resistance again, and that also does look like it corresponds with a fib level going from the low here to the high, and that is the 382 right around 21. So maybe that could be acting as some resistance. But with my average being slightly higher, I wouldn't really start to consider trimming until getting around my average, 2148. My average was previously 2161, and so that's why I have it marked here, but I'm just going to leave it, trimming out the majority of my position as it goes up to around 25. That is where I would want to get out. And why do I pick 25? That's like the tops over here. We go up to there, take some profits, exit, done, good, feel fine about that. But yeah, anyways, let's go on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Fartcoin, ticker symbol Fartcoin. And yeah, let's check out the market cap for that one. It's going to be ranked 130 on the list here with a market cap of around $387.7 million, I believe. And so, yeah, 388 million. That did go up from last week when its market cap was around 366 and now 388. But let's just check out the price for Fartcoin. The closing price from yesterday, October 24th, that was at 38.24 cents, so 38.24 cents. And looks like I'm down about 34% on my position, which is unfortunate. I thought that, for a while, 69 cents seemed like it was acting as support. We did break down lower. And so levels to the downside that could be acting as support as it trades around 38.7 cents. Level is 35 cents, kind of corresponding with the consolidation lows over here. We did hit lows on Wednesday. On the 22nd of October of around, 31.71 cents, as well as 32.48 cents on Thursday the 23rd. And looks like a PSA card offer, something over there. Let's see. Yep, so that potentially acting as support, but we did wick below it. Let's see, 31 cents. Did I have that as a level? So for Fartcoin, no, I don't have 31 cents. Actually, my dip by level would be 20 cents, and that's going to be corresponding. Let's see, the lows from October 10th was actually, not 20 cents. That was 3.01 cents. And so that's why I have this one in yellow here. I'm not able to place it, but that's at 6.9 cents, 69, just kind of having some fun with that. I'm not able to place that order because it's so much lower than current price, but I do have an order placed at 20 cents, and that is going to be corresponding with the level here, that being the lows from, let's see, March 10th of 2025, lows of, let's see, 1988 that I do have marked there. And so that could be, maybe a wick down to there, get an order filled, and then we go up to 69 cents. So that's the level that I'd want to trim at, but I could actually see there being some resistance below 69 cents. We do have the 50-day SMA right around 62 cents, but we're here to have fun. That's why Fartcoin exists, because it's so stupid. Got to have some fun. And so 69 cents, just pierce that 50-day SMA. And so I think that's fine. And then, I would maintain a moon bag, about $100 exposure to Fartcoin to see if it goes up to 420. But I'd probably sell that, in January of next year of 2026, just to, manage that risk and whatnot, just having some fun with it. But anyways, the next one on the list is going to be Cardano, ticker symbol ADA. And let's check out the market cap for Cardano. I believe it's number 10. Is that right? Yep. And that's $23.4 billion. So let's just paste that over here. And we can see it did go up from last week when the market cap was 22.6 billion. Now it's 23.4, nearly 23.5. And so let's check out the chart for Cardano. And that is going to be a closing price for Friday, October 24th of, 65.63 cents. So 6563 did go up from last week. I am down about 18% on my position with an average cost of 80 cents. Not going to be doing anything crazy with this. Dip buys, nothing, not worried about it. And let's see. This one, 80 cents. I've got 62 cents as a level of potential support. And so let's just check that out. Why do I have 62 cents? It looks like because it's the, over here, move from the bottom to the top. The 786 is right around 62 cents. And I might just extend that forward into the future so we can see that a little bit clearer. And we did test that level. Looks like on Wednesday, the 22nd, hit a low of 60.71 cents. And as you can see, we have been respecting that level, piercing it, but respecting it. So that does seem like it's a very nice dip buying level. But the levels that I would consider dip buying at for Cardano is going to be about 56 cents. I do have an alert placed there, so I would check that out if it dipped down to around this green line. Which is corresponding with the consolidation lows over here. I think we could get a pierce of 56 cents, buy the dip, then see it rally to, let's say, maybe 70 cents. I think that could be acting as some resistance, with that corresponding with this 618 here, the yellow line. But perhaps more compelling resistance, in my view, would be around, 81 cents, or right around 80 cents. We do have the 50-day SMA right there at about 79 cents. And then just getting past that a little bit. So it does look like I have that level marked at 81 cents. But I wouldn't really consider trimming it until around $2 or $3. I think that Cardano has a lot of potential to the upside. So yeah, that is what I would be looking for. But then the next one on the list is going to be Avalanche, ticker symbol AVAX. And the market cap for Avalanche, if we do come over here, ranked at number 17 with a market cap of around $8.3 billion. So if I just paste that over here, now we can see that one did come down from last week. And let's see. It was at 8.5 billion, now at 8.3, so it came down by about $200 million. But let's check out the chart to see what it's looking like over here. The closing price from Friday, October 24th, was at $19.50. And from there, it did come down from last week. And I am down about 24% on my position with an average cost of $25.49. And from the list, I could see, $20 acting as some potential support, although it does look like we are trading a little bit lower than 20, but really that just being like a psychological level, thinking that that could be a nice dip buy opportunity where it's currently at. But I do think that 17, if we do go down to there, I would have an alert place. I do have an alert place, and that's going to be kind of corresponding with this level 1625, which looks like it was like the consolidation lows over here going back to March of 2025 and tested, multiple times. So if we did come down to 17, I think that would be a great dip buying opportunity. And let's just take a quick look here. October 10th, the low was exactly 17. Maybe we sweep that. So yeah, I'm just going to leave 17 there. And I think the 20 is fine as well. I think that's a dip buying opportunity where it's currently at, although I am not going to be doing that. I have enough exposure right now, so I'm fine with it. But then levels to the upside, 28, approximately corresponding with that 50-day SMA at around 17. And then beyond that, it looks like I got 36. We can see it marked here, corresponding with the tops. A number of levels to the upside. And I do have a small trim order placed at 54, which if we do zoom out, that's just going to be corresponding with the highs over here from December of 2024. Maybe start to trim out there. But other than that, I would really just look for this to get into the 60s, maybe 100, 135. If, it does repeat what it has done in the past, maybe go beyond. So yeah, just some things to consider there with Avalanche. But yeah, let's look at the next one on the list, which is going to be Chainlink, ticker symbol LINK or Link. Let's take a look at the market cap for Link, ranked here at number 12. With a market cap of about $12.2 billion. And let's see, did it go up or down? Last week did go up with the market cap last Saturday being at around 11.3 billion, now at 12.2. So looking good there from last week. If we look over at the chart here, we can see the closing price on Friday, October 25th was around 17.897. So 17,897, and did go up. I am down about 15% on my position with an average price right around $21, and I could see that Link presenting some nice dip buying opportunities around $16, which is still below us. And let's see, if we do look over at the chart, we're around 18. So 16, that is just going to be corresponding with the 618 here. Maybe go a little bit lower than that, around 16. We did see a low on Friday last week of 1570, so 16 would have been filled there. But then coming over to the list here, I wouldn't really get too interested until, let's see, Link got to around 14. And we haven't seen that. The lowest it was over here on October 17th was 1570, as I had mentioned. But over here, we see the low on October 10th of $15 exactly. But we do see the 786 there around 14. So that is why I do have that level marked there for an alert. But then upside levels, let's see, $20, just kind of, psychological level there. We do have the 50-day SMA around 2115. So that could be another level. And then, 15 as well. I do have that marked as potential support to the bottom. But I wouldn't really consider buying that. 30 beyond 20, and then maybe 50. So we'll have to see if we can get up to there. And let's see, 30 is right around here, corresponding with these highs. And then 50, just moving beyond that. Yeah, coming back to the list over here, the next one is going to be XRP, ticker symbol XRP. Let's check out the market cap for that one. And that's going to be ranked number 4 here. It does look like XRP, I believe, would have taken over or overtaken either BNB's market share or Tether. I'm not really sure, but it does look like XRP has a market cap now of $155.6 billion. So I'm just going to populate that there. You can see that did go up from last week when it had a market cap of around $140.8 billion, now a little bit higher. And let's check out the price over here. Closing price does look like it's going up into Saturday, so that's looking pretty good. But the closing price on Friday, October 24th, was at $2.51.08. So $2.51.08. And, so right there, looks like I'm more or less at break even at 254, down by 1% based on yesterday's close. But based on current price at around 260, 261, I am up just a tiny bit, but not adding, just chilling with my position. No big deal there. And some levels that I could see, acting as a potential dip buy opportunity would be 226, would be, support. To the downside, and let's just see over here what was the low on October 17th, so last Friday. That would have been at 219, so a little bit lower than I have marked here at 226. What was the low on Wednesday, October 22nd? That was 232.48, so not exactly piercing that level, but let's see some of the other ones that I have. The level that I consider adding at for XRP is 190, and that is really just going to be based on the level that was pierced here on October 10th when we hit a low of 177.10. But I do have 190 or 191 marked there, corresponding with the low from June 22nd. So that's 190.93. So $1.90.93. Maybe we sweep the lows there, pierce that. Maybe we don't. And so I think that's fine. Levels to the upside that I could see for XRP is 283. And that is going to be based on, right around that simple moving average at 278. But, maybe we pierce that. I do think that we will probably go higher, and I wouldn't really consider, wanting to trim until we get to around 369. Probably just having fun with those numbers, 69, 420. But just, basically thinking that XRP could be going a lot higher with the previous highs over here. I guess the all-time highs that would have been hit on July 18th of 2025 at $3.66.62. Maybe that was a bad omen with those 3 6s, and actually it does seem like it was. So maybe some superstition is warranted in these kind of crazy markets. But yeah, I would want to see it go a little bit higher than that, 369, and then that would be like blue sky territory. So I do think that it could start to, really run, but, maybe I want to trim a little bit when it's up there, manage that risk. But yeah, then coming back to the list over here to look at Litecoin, ticker symbol LTC. Let's take a look at the market cap of Litecoin, ranked here number 19 with a market cap of around 7.3, nearly $7.4 billion, which does look like it went up from last week when it was at, let's see, 6.9, almost $7 billion market cap. Now we're over 7 billion, so looking good there. But then if we check out the chart, we can see that the closing price from Friday, October 24th was, let's see, 96.48. So let's just populate that there, 96.48, down about 5% with an average cost of 101.46. Levels that I could see as dip buy levels to the downside about 90. And let's just take a look at this. What was the low over here from Wednesday the 22nd? The low was 89.91, so maybe it would have gotten a fill at 90 cents, or sorry, $90, but maybe not. Excuse me. And that does correspond with this 618 retracement around 91 bucks. Just piercing that. I could see it going lower though, and that would be to a level of around $79. The reason why I have that there is that's going to correspond with the 786 here. But we could go lower, and maybe on the 10th of October we did hit a low of 71.73. So that's why I do have the 72 right there. But 79, have an alert. Maybe I'd buy some on the dip, but otherwise to the upside I could see $100 acting as some resistance, just being psychological. Also, we do see the 50-day SMA right around 107 or 108, so that could be some resistance as well. We do have the 50% retracement here right around 100. and then a number of levels to the upside. But I could, see this going to 300, maybe into the 400s, maybe into the 600s. And if we do look at the past, we can see the 300s over here from 2021. And it does look like highs over here from 2017 of around, of around 420. So could be getting to those levels, but we also do see that there is this downtrending resistance. If we break above that, maybe the sky's the limit, maybe go a lot higher, like to the 600s. So, just having some fun with those numbers. But yeah, then coming back over here, let's look over at Aave, ticker symbol AAVE. And if we do look at the market cap for Aave, we can see that it is ranked at number 32 with a market cap of around $3.4 billion. Just populate that over here. We can see that did go up from last week when it had a market cap of around 3.2 billion, now about 3.4. So going up by about $200 million. And then if we do look over here at the chart, now we can see that the closing price from Friday, October 24th, was at 228.99. So 228.99. That did go up from last week. It looks like I'm down about 18% in my position with an average cost of 278.55. But I'm just chilling, not adding, not worrying about it. And levels to the downside that I could see acting as support would be around $200. And if we do look at this, that's really just going to be psychological. But if we do look at the low from October 22nd, that was at 208.52. And we do have a little bit lower low over here going back in time. And that would be October 17th at $200.19. So right around $200. But we are putting in higher lows. So maybe we don't get down to there, but maybe we sweep that low. So maybe that's a nice level to have a limit dip buy at, but I don't have one. I wouldn't really consider adding to Aave until it got down to like 170 or 130. And 170 is going to be, let's see. I don't know what happened here. Just bugged out for a second. But 170, that's corresponding with the 786. And then 130, I imagine that's going to be the low from October 10th. The low was 128. So some levels there. 300 to the upside, that's going to be a level that I could see this going to. We do have the 50-day SMA around 271, but 300, that being a psychological level, that kind of makes sense. I wouldn't really want to be trimming out until around 400 or beyond. And, we can see that, let's see, it has gone up as high as like 627 in the past. And it does also look like we have this downtrending level of resistance. We break that. Sky's the limit. I think this could be looking really good. But then coming back over here to the next one on the list, that is going to be Pepe, ticker symbol PEPE. If we do look over at the market cap from Pepe, ranked number 36 with a market cap of around $3 billion. Let's see if that went up or down over the past week. Did go up, but last week the market cap was around $2.8 billion. So again, a lot of these going up about $200 million. Very interesting to see that kind of consistency. Yeah, if we do look over at the chart here, we can see the closing price for Friday, October 24th, was at, looks like 50718. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 718. That did go up, although, I am down about 47% of my position with an average cost of around 4 zeros and a 1 3, but I'm not worrying about it. I have enough risk with this one, with this meme. There's a different meme I want to be moving up on the list. But yeah, levels that I could see acting as support, 5 zeros and a 6. Let's look over at the chart to see what was the low on October 22nd. That was 5 zeros and a 644, so nearly there, but we do see that we are putting in higher lows. So that could be a good sign that we are going to be moving to the upside soon. But then let's see other levels. I'm not really too worried about this, but I would want to trim out if it gets above my average, 4 zeros and a 1 6 or 4 zeros and a 2, but then 4 zeros and a 1 psychological level, also kind of corresponding with the 50-day SMA. That's around 5 zeros and a 9, so another level to consider there. Then coming back to the list, just approaching an hour now, but let's dive into official Trump, and that is the TRUMP ticker, or the Trump token. And if we do look at the market cap for Trump, that is going to be ranked number 67 over here, and maybe that's meme worthy as well. And the 6.7, and that's a market cap of 1.2, just about 1.2 billion dollars there, and did go up from last week, and that was at 1 point, just shy of 2 again, so it went up a little bit, but not too much. About $14 million, something like that, if I'm doing that mental math right. But yeah, let's check out the price for Trump. We can see the closing price for the 24th of October on Friday was $5.96. So $5.96, down about 45% of my position. So Pepe and Trump, both of them not great performers here. But I don't need to be exposing myself to any more risk. I'm just kind of chilling on my buys for now. But levels to the downside, 560. Let's see what was the low on Wednesday. That was, let's see, at a price of, let's see, the low was $5.56. So, yeah, piercing that level that I have pointed out there. So might have gotten some fills there, but I wouldn't really pay too much attention to this. I wouldn't really pay any attention to this until I feel a little bit more better about my other position sizes. But Trump, maybe $4.69. That'd be a fun level to add at. And we do see the low here from October 10th was at $4.57. So $4.69 would have gotten filled. And yeah, I mean, we do have, actually, let's see, do we have a lower low here? The low on the 17th was at 560, and then the low over here was at 556. That's a lower low, and I'm actually curious, what is this data issue? Delayed streaming. The issue is on the exchange side, so I don't know what's going on with Trump right now. So that's a little bit wonky, apparently, but yeah, $8, that's a level that I could see acting as some resistance. We do have the 50-day SMA right around 743, corresponding with approximately $8. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really want to start trimming until I get into the green, around, let's see, what's my average at? My average is just about 11. But yeah, getting to around 16 or beyond, I think that this could be getting to some fun numbers. So I'm really just chilling there with that. Coming over to the next one on the list, it's going to be Arbitrum, ticker symbol ARB, not to be confused with Arby's. And we can take a look at the market cap of Arbitrum, and that is going to be ranked at number 47 with a market cap of around $1.76 billion. So that did go up from last week when it had a market cap of around $1.69 billion. So looking good there. That is going up. But then coming over here to look at the chart of Arbitrum, we can see that the closing price on Friday, it looks like all the stuff is a little bit frozen. I've got this thing up here that could just be a Coinbase issue. Not sure if there's some outage. Maybe things are plummeting as I record this. I have no idea. But the closing price from October 24th on Friday was 32.01 cents. So 32.01 cents. And it does look like I'm down about 21% with an average cost of 40 cents. Not going to worry about that. We do look at the dip buy level, or the support level. That's going to be around 29 cents. And I might actually just refresh this to see if that does, I guess there's something screwy going on with the data. But let's just throw up the drawing here. Oops, drawings here. I guess I don't have any to the downside with Arbitrum, but just thinking about those levels, 29 cents. Why would I have that? Let's see. The low over here from October 17th It was 28.79 cents, so maybe that would get a fill. We do see the low over here on the 22nd of October at 29.19, putting in higher lows there, so that's looking kind of good. But then we do have some lower lows going back in time on the 10th of October when we did have that liquidation cascade, saw lows of around 10.68 cents. And yeah, so 11 cents, that is a level I would place an alert. I do have an alert there. Maybe I'd be intrigued to buy there. But I could see this going up to around, let's see, 44 cents. We do have the 50-day simple moving average around 42 cents. And that is, just below 44. So maybe we pierce that level, go a little bit higher, but I wouldn't really be interested to sell until we got to around 2. But I do think there are some other levels between 44 and 2 that we could be finding some resistance at. But yeah, I mean, I think that this could definitely be going back to 2. So I think it could be a big money maker. But yeah, the next one on the list, this is one that I have been adding to over the past week, which is Pudgy Penguins, ticker symbol PENGU or PENGU. And so let's take a look at the market cap of that one, ranked at number 61 with a market cap of around $1.3 billion. So let's just paste that over here. And we can see that did go up from last week when it had a market cap of around 1.34. Now it's at 1.346. So only went up by, $6 million. So nothing too impressive there. But, being up is good. It's nice to see some green on the charts. And then if we do look at the closing price from Friday, October 24th, that was at a price of $211.7. So 211.7, and that actually did go down relative to last week's Friday's close, but I imagine not by much. We do flip back over 2.118, now 2.117, a little bit lower, not really that much, but I'm down about 30% in my position. I have been doing $1 daily DCAs via Robinhood, just because, I would like PENGU to be at least higher than Pepe, so I'll probably just be adding to that until it does dethrone those, or at least just moves up a little bit higher on the list. But I would have to say that I'd probably prefer Arbitrum being above these memes. So maybe if PENGU overthrows Arbitrum, then I'd start to add to Arbitrum to get it higher than the memes. But anyways, PENGU, 2 cents is a level that I could see acting as support. And if we do look at the levels over here, we did have a low on October 22nd of 1.9349 cents. So 2 probably would have gotten filled. Might have been a nice dip buy level there. And we do have this channel that it does seem to have been trading in for some time, kind of consolidating around the lows. And I might actually make that a little bit steeper, just to kind of capture the lows over there. But yeah, a breakout to the upside of that would be around 3.2 cents. And so I have about 3 cents marked there. But as resistance, we do have the 50-day SMA around 2.9 cents, so kind of corresponding with that level, but I really wouldn't be interested until it got to around 1.7 cents, which I imagine corresponds with the lows over here from October 10th at around 1.7 cents exactly, based on the Coinbase data. But then now, let's look at the final one on the list, which is going to be Uniswap, ticker symbol UNI or Uni. And if we do look over at the market cap for Uniswap, ranked number 30 with a market cap of around $3.9 billion. Let's see if I copied that number. There we go. And it did go up from last week when on Friday, the 17th of last week, it had closed, last Saturday, I guess on the 18th, it had a market cap of 3.7 billion. Now it's at 3.9. So again, up about $200 million. So very interesting to see that kind of across the board. But then we do look over at the chart here. we can see the closing price from Friday, October 24th was at 624.5, so 6245, and it looks like I'm down about 37% on my position. This is one kind of like Ethereum Classic that I had, wanted to trim out of my position. I did trim out of Uniswap, and so it's my smallest holding now. I wish I would have done that with ETC. Kind of wish I would have just gotten out of Uniswap, but it is what it is, and I do think that there is some upside potential with it, although I think it could be finding some support potentially at 580. If we do look at this, the levels here, it looks like the low on Wednesday, October 22nd, was at 584.6, and so that could be, putting in a higher low there, as in the low from Friday, October 17th, was at, wow, that's actually crazy, 584.6 over here. It was 584.6 again, so double bottom there, very interesting. But the low over here on October 10th, when we had that liquidation cascade, that was at $5 exactly. We do have the 515.5 level marked there. Kind of the consolidation lows right around $5. And if we do look over here, I wouldn't really be interested to put this on my radar for buying until it got down to around 516. So I'm not really, too worried about that until it comes down. Then I might want to buy the dip then. But I'm just chilling. Levels to the upside that we could see, I do see 838 as a level of resistance. And let's see the 50-day SMA, that's around 792. But maybe this does go a little bit higher than that. So I would consider that. But I wouldn't really want to be trimming out of my position until around 13 or beyond. I think that this could be going up a lot higher as we do look at the past 18 over here. The highs from a little less than, I should say, a year ago, December of 2024. Around 18, but it has gone to 43 or so in the past, so I think it could be getting back to around 42. So definitely a lot of upside potential with that one. But coming back to the list over here, looking at all of these percentages that I am up or down in, we can see them looking over here at the list. It looks like the only positions that I am green on is going to be Ethereum. It looks like I'm up about 42% on that position. If we look over at Bitcoin, it looks like I'm up about 13%. And then Dogecoin, just below that, I'm up about 8% on that position. And then Solana here, I'm up about 2%. And then other than that, all of my positions are effectively red, although right here, XRP, based on the current price action, it looks like I am up a little bit in that, but generally, everything's down. I am just chilling. I think that this chart, it looks kind of flat with, Ethereum hitting a high of 99%, almost at a 2x. I was not planning on selling then, but looking at the chart now, I kind of wish I would have buy back more on the dip. But generally, I think that this is horizontal, and I think that eventually we're going to see it go kind of parabolic. And so I'm waiting for that. I do think that will be happening, but not just yet. So we will have to wait and see. But generally, with that being said, all these numbers over here. As always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Crypto Corner Sat Stackers and to see where we are at next Saturday, start of November. Hopefully, we can come back to this chart and see that we did have a green October, and hopefully we continue that trend into November and December. I'm just going to refresh this so we can see 2.2 still. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, have a great rest of your weekend. I'll see you guys later. Bye.